What's up, guys? This is SanchoWest, and welcome to the CheckPoint Amigos show. This podcast, we go over all the nerdy news that you need to know for your nerdy lives. That includes video games, movies, sports, and wrestling. So what we do here for the show, for those of you who are new, for just turning in for the first time, we got the main meaty topic that we go over, a big chunk of the show, and then we have the weekly checkpoint, then we have the coming soon, and then we have farewell, adios, the adieu part of the show. Before we begin the show, I'd like to thank the people at patreon.com/SanchoWest for supporting the show. Because of that, you got early access to the podcast. If you like early access to the podcast, all you have to do is put in $1 a month, and you got early access to the audio version on SoundCloud, iTunes, and a video version on YouTube. So let's go ahead and get to the show. The main topic is over on Twitter for the past week. There's been a trending hashtag called GameStruck4. Now, the whole hashtag movement was to talk about what games really made you a passionate gamer, what games define who you are, what games launched you on this journey, not necessarily the best 4 games you ever played in your life. So I saw this trending topic on Twitter, and I was like, this would be an excellent podcast topic. And I didn't tweet this out, so let's go ahead over my hashtag GameStruck4. All right. So most of this list is essentially from the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 is a dear console to me. It's one of those consoles when I was first just discovering how awesome gaming is and just being very social, because it was the first system that had 4 players versus just the 2. And the games themselves were awesome. I mean, the Nintendo's, Mario Party, Mario 64, Turok, San Francisco Rush 2, all those games I really enjoyed playing. And what's really interesting is that I always go to this video game place in North Hollywood called Game Dude, and it's basically this big warehouse. And there at Gamer Dude, or Game Dude or something like that, they said that they're the highest selling retro console this couple weeks or past couple years or so is the Nintendo 64, simply because my generation now has expendable income. So all the Nintendo 64s are kind of going off the shelves, and they're raising price, and all the Nintendo first party games are $30 to $40. So Mario 64 is $30, Mario Party $60, no, $40-$50, and that's just crazy. And Super Smash Brothers is an insane amount of money. But those games really struck a chord with me, because it was just at that point when I was transitioning from, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and then, I really didn't get into the PlayStation because, I don't know, but the Nintendo 64, man, that's what's up. It kind of launched everything. So 2 of the games are from the Nintendo 64 era. Man, it's just all these memories of talking about the Nintendo 64, especially Mario Party, right? Getting the blister on the palm of your hand, and then seeing that Nintendo is asking for, evidence and getting baseball gloves in return for that. So it's not on the list, but this is a memory that just flew to me right now. But what's on the list is GoldenEye. The first one, a GameStruck4, is GoldenEye. GoldenEye 64 holds a special place in my heart. What an awesome game, with the crazy ability to unlock all those special cheat codes by playing the game, by trying to beat levels in a fast manner. The game itself is very clunky going back on it, and the graphics did not hold up. But the Nintendo 64 controller is so weird, and moving with it, I remember moving Turok with the C buttons. But what GoldenEye was the multiplayer, the first-person shooter multiplayer that I really sunk my teeth into. Is really getting friends together, sleepovers, countless hours, learning what screen peeking or screen looking is, all that kind of fun stuff. But the reason why it really has a place in this list is that my father really got into the game. He really enjoyed playing it. My father rarely got into video games with me, but that was the game he did get into. And every time he would get a kill, he would literally unload a whole P90 extra clip into me, and he would just laugh and laugh. Now, at the time, I was just very rage about it, because that's the troll thing to do. But it's just a way, that was my way my father was connecting with me and having fun with me. Granted, I would dominate with all my family members because I played that game religiously, but it was just a really cool game, especially that 4-player split screen. And another awesome memory that I have of it is that it's the first tournament that I've actually entered and won. This local video game store called Game Fellas in Barton Creek Mall in Austin, Texas. They had a tournament, which it was free for all, pistols only. And I still remember the play I had. This guy was just tucked behind the pin, and I was just shooting into the corner, and it kind of hit at the same time. But we traded essentially. But I think I had the life lead, and I ended up winning the whole tournament. So GoldenEye holds a special place in my heart, and GoldenEye, just the movie license, the soundtrack, everything about it, the level design, and the multiplayer levels, grade A in my book. Sticking with Nintendo, the next one was Mario Kart 64, and it's for the same reasons, about connections, about awesome memories. I remember going to a kind of like a middle school party where they get all the middle schools in the area, and like I'm looking at the dance floor, and then at the corner of my eye, I see these group of kids huddled around a big screen TV, and they're playing Mario Kart 64. And man, I remember just playing that game just hours and hours and figuring out different strategies. And I got so hyped when I figured out that you could do a red shell right from above, and it bypasses all the green shells, all that kind of stuff. And it got to the point where my cousins, man, we were just playing tag on it when we were just saying, all right, if you hit sparks, boom, that means you're it. And another memory from that game is that it would be like 10 o'clock at night, and my cousin would come over. He was like really older at the time, and he'd be like, challenge. And what that meant was we would play Sherbert Land, right? Sherbert Land, no matter what, we would just keep constantly playing it. And I got to the point where I would cut corners, jump right over the ice, like the little ice holes, and do all this kind of crazy stuff. So Mario Kart 64 holds a place in my heart. And then leaving the Nintendo 64 era, finally get into the PlayStation 2 era. The next game, SOCOM 2, I spent hours, constant hours playing this game. Like, it was the game that ate up all my free time in high school. It was the game that I played with my buddies. It was the game that I trolled. It was the game that I raged. It was the game that I learned about all these secret, strategies. It was the game that I learned third-person shooting. It was the game that I learned third peeking. It was the game where I learned, how to rush. It was the game where I created a troll gamer tag called Big Papa Pump, where I would go on crossroads as the seal spawn up the stairs, hit the terrorist with a big pump before he could grenades spam. All those kinds of crazy stuff, and the horns. I just love SOCOM to death. SOCOM is such an awesome game that I just hope one day they remaster it. I doubt it because Zipper Studios is gone, but I love SOCOM. Like, SOCOM would be, everyone asks me what's my favorite multiplayer of all time, it's SOCOM. Just to be like the technology around, and even though like it was like sometimes laggy, but it was just so good. And then you would just sit there and wait round turn base, and you just had one life, and that adrenaline was amazing. And then like keeping up with that, the next game is a little bit different, right? I always had the problem naming the fourth spot. The fourth spot was always up in the air for me. Like, I don't know what would be my fourth game. I mean, I loved WCW versus NWO. I loved playing Uncharted 2 on the PlayStation 3. I love playing Resistance Fall of Man. I love playing COD Modern Warfare 2. I love playing Halo 2 with my buddy. My buddy and I, we would play Halo 2 split screen on online servers. We thought that was amazing that we could split screen and go up against other people. But I have to give it to The Last of Us. The Last of Us, it was not only as a game content-wise that was an awesome, masterpiece in single player and the multiplayer, but it actually changed my life. That game really changed my life because I went from just a guy making YouTube videos to a content creator, making tips and tricks, tutorials, and, building a community. And The Last of Us was the foundation of this community that we have today. And I will always be forever grateful for that game, especially the developers behind it. Let me just tell you my Last of Us story, how all this came to be. And some of you guys may already know this, but some of you may not. But essentially what ended up happening was I was making Last of Us videos, and all of a sudden I got into this invite to a birthday party for a friend of mine back home in Texas, and her roommate at the time, I believe, was seeing somebody, important. And the point of the story was, it's an LA party, right? I'm sitting there, I'm bored out of my mind. And I see this guy next to me. He's bored out of his mind too. And we strike up a conversation, and he's like, "Oh, so what do you do?" He's like, "Oh, what do you do? What do you da da da?" LA is always full of these things. And I said, yeah, on the side, I make YouTube videos. I do this game. I don't know if you heard of it, The Last of Us. I do videos for the multiplayer. And he's like, the multiplayer? I'm like, yeah, I love the multiplayer. It's really awesome. I have the series. I show him my YouTube videos. He's like, check it out. He's like, oh, that's cool. I work on The Last of Us. I made that game. Or, I work on it. I made that game. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm a developer for Naughty Dog, and we work on that game. And it's kind of crazy that you made multiplayer videos. I'll tell the guys that they're excited. And that guy ended up being Kurt Marganow. Now, Kurt Marganow is now like a big honcho at Naughty Dog. He's like a game director there. Essentially, I think he did The Last of Us. He did Uncharted Lost Legacy. he moved up the ladder. Since when I first met him, he was just like a lead designer, and now he's like a director and all that kind of crazy stuff. But literally, from Kurt Marginal's meeting at that random party in LA, birthday party, I got to meet Eric Monticelli. Eric Monticelli is the former community manager of Naughty Dog, and then the rest is history. We started live streaming, and everything went, and it really changed my life. It really did. It let me know that I could host, and let me know that I could handle big reveals, because we did the Uncharted 4 E3 reveal. I was at the host of that stuff, and all that. It just snowballed into all this crazy stuff, and that's where I am today. So without The Last of Us, I would not be here. I mean, I'll be here in some form or fashion, but not the way I am today. If that makes sense. So that would have to be another thing, because as a gamer, it let me know that I could do this professionally, in a sense, like I could be making a career from gaming. And The Last of Us was definitely the spear of that. So those are the games that struck for. I really want you guys to comment down below and let me know the games that struck you for. Again, to wrap that up, is GoldenEye, Mario Kart 64, SOCOM 2, and The Last of Us are the games that struck for. The other ones are called Film Struck For. I really have to think about that. Maybe I'll do that for next podcast. And before I forget, the next podcast may come out a little bit later. I will be in Memphis, part of the St. Jude's charity summit, where we get 150 other influencers, and they fly out to Memphis. They fly us out to Memphis, and we go ahead and we start the official, like, it's the kickoff for the entire year. So St. Jude's raising up money for the cancer research and all the things. We're going to visit patients. We're going to visit families. Lots of meetings of that sort, just to see the impact that we have as gamers on the community. So I'm very excited about that. I like to thank the people at St. Jude's for inviting me. I'm very stoked about that, and I will definitely have an update regarding all those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and get to the weekly checkpoint. Let's talk about Detroit Become Human goes gold. So Detroit Become Human is finally ready to come out soon. They actually announced that the release date is May 25th. I'm very excited about this game. This came from Quantum Dreams. It's the same makers of Heavy Rain. If you remember that PlayStation 3 game, where essentially your decisions, butterfly affects the ending, and had multiple characters. And Detroit Become Human looks amazing ever since they revealed it on E3. So let me just go to the PlayStation blog to celebrate this milestone, to help you pass the time as you hold on to this a little while longer for the game's release on May 25th. I am extremely happy to announce that the first scene of the game, Hostage, will be available for download on the PlayStation Store starting tomorrow, Tuesday, April 24th at 12:01 a.m. midnight Eastern Standard Time. So if you're listening to this now, it's already available now in the PlayStation Store. Get yourself the demo for Hostage. Understand how amazing it is to just have everything slowed down and look so beautiful, moment to moment action. And Detroit Become Human is essentially about androids trying to fit into society. I just love that kind of stuff. So Detroit Become Human, congratulations to you devs at Quantum Dreams, going gold. Next story, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 won't have a solo campaign, but might have a battle royale. So this is a rumor that's swirling around Call of Duty Black Ops. They won't have a traditional single player, and that they're opting for more multiplayer centric, like the zombie mode and a battle royale, which is, it perks my interest, because I've been saying this, for those of you who've been listening to this podcast for a while, that I've been saying this, that the AAA is finally going to get into the battle royales, and it's very exciting to see COD, and it's very exciting to see Battlefield get into the fray as well, because a DICE engine battle royale, ooh, it's gonna be extra crispy. For those of you who don't know, DICE engine is the same engine behind Battlefront, and that game looks amazing. So that's the thing that I think battle royales are missing: that polish, that lore, all those kind of crazy things. AAA has the ability to juice right into that. But let's get to the story about Call of Duty here. This comes through Kotaku. Call of Duty information broker Charlie Intel saying that the new game will have a battle royale, and that's the kind of the last player standing mode that's been taking over gaming for the past year. And what with the success of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, Fortnite Battle Royale, and a major of competitors so far, no big budget game studio has added a battle royale mode to the big franchises. But it seems to like only matter of time for it hits like Call of Duty or Battlefield or Division or Destiny. That's basically what I just said. Details are murky, and Call of Duty publisher Activision isn't talking. Quote, "We don't comment on rumor and speculation," end quote. It responded in an email to Kotaku today. Recently, Call of Duty games have been bursting with modes, including the increasingly elaborate zombies mode pioneered by Black Ops 4, leads to Terroriac. Black Ops 3 already offered two-player co-op in the game's campaign. According to Polygon, as the multi-year development cycle of Black Ops 4 moved toward the game's October release date, quote, it became evident that the development cycle on the single-player campaign wouldn't be completed, end quote. So essentially, the single-player is not being worked on as heavily as it used to be. There's a lot of focus on the multiplayer, but a lot of people are up in arms because Black Ops single-player campaign is pretty solid, and to see that axed for the multiplayer, that's going to set off the wrong foot forward for Activision and Call of Duty Black Ops 4. It's quite interesting because Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is going to have the single player and not the multiplayer. I feel like they got that backwards. But we'll see what happens. Again, Battlefield gained a lot of rumors swirling around Battlefield that Battle Royales will make it. It just makes more, for me, it makes more sense for Battlefield to get in the fray because you already have the introduction of big maps and vehicles. And it seems like their servers could handle something of that magnitude. Again, I don't feel like Battle Royales need to be 100-man Battle Royales. It could be 64 or 32. As long as it has that last man, one life to live element. One life to live is a soap opera. But anyway, just to keep up with it, there's a lot of the things that regarding Battle Royales that it's going to be interesting to see what PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and Fortnite does to retain the top of the mountain, right? So PUBG is like doing some things like having special events every weekends, like shotguns only mode, 8-man squad modes. They're rolling in map selections so people could choose between the desert map and the traditional island map that they have, and of course the introduction of a new map called Savage, codenamed Savage. So all those kinds of things is interesting to see what can PUBG and Fortnite do to maintain their place on the Battle Royale top. Next story, man breaks into GameStop wearing plastic bag on his head. A man broke into GameStop in St. Mary's, Georgia last week at 1:39 in the morning, having decided the best way to disguise his features would be to try on to cover his face what's left of a plastic bag that packs water bottles come in. The break-in occurred in the early hours of April 3rd. Footage captured the incident has been uploaded by St. Mary's police, showing the man looking like a low-rent Mr. Freeze cosplayer. St. Mary's police tell Kotaku that the suspect gained entry to the store by kicking out the bottom glass panel of the front door, but not disclosed of what was taken. Why would you break into the GameStop? Why? And put a plastic bag over your head. You can't even see what's out there. You didn't want to put down $5 to a reservation towards God of War? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you also want to put down a reservation? Oh, did you want to buy the power card as well with access to the Game Informer magazine? All those kind of crazy stuff. That's the thing. I haven't gotten a GameStop for a long time. I usually get at my digital copies now or physical copies from Amazon. But wow, to break into the GameStop. And they don't even say what he took. I mean, who knows? They probably just took. The thing is, like, you need. I'm just amazed that someone would go through some great lengths to get gaming peripherals, or maybe he wanted some of those awesome statues that they have back there. But crazy story. Let's move on to a more lighthearted story. Students at SLU are learning Italian by playing Assassin's Creed 2. This comes from Variety. Simone Belgini. Gini, PhD, started playing games in 1975 when he was 12, according to this press release. During the mid-'80s, he realized playing text adventures helped him learn English. That revelation inspired his research and teaching methods, along with the work he led in leading Italian video game publication in the 1990s. He recently received a fellowship grant from SLU's Reinhardt Center of Transformative Teaching and Learning to develop language course based entirely on gaming. The class, called Intensive Italian for Gamers, reportedly provides students with 2 semesters worth of language acquisition over the course of a single fall semester. By the final, there were 3 to 5 points ahead of students who attended a traditional Italian course. Bergini says using video games to reinforce vocabulary and grammar and teach students to problem solve in a foreign language is utilized at variety of titles in classrooms, including Final Fantasy, Heavy Rain, Quantum Dreams, Heavy Rain, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and he said Assassin's Creed 2 is the most useful. Quote, in my Italian Renaissance lecture course, for example, students explore Florence as it flourished under the Medici by playing Assassin's Creed 2. My 21st century American students partake in the life of Enzo Auditore, a 20-something man from an affluent family, by wandering around cultural historical recreation of 1476 Florence. I firmly believe that learning should be fun, and the fact that it's fun doesn't take away from the seriousness, and it's just more effective. So kudos to you, professor, for using video games for teaching your students how to play. I always would love to get into for me, like, Spanish never really soak into me, like the courses and things like that. So this would be an interesting way to engross yourself. Maybe like put in Spanish language and turn on subtitles so you could play a little bit more effectively. But that's really cool that someone's using Assassin's Creed in this way, and it shows shout outs to you, Professor. Next story comes from Valve, or from Campo Santo. Actually, Campo Santo is purchased by Valve, and Campo Santo sent out this press release. The 12 of us at Campo Santo have agreed, so these Campo Santo is the people that did Firewatch, by the way, have agreed to join Valve, where we will maintain our jobs as video game developers and continue production on our current project, The Valley of Gods. In Valve, we found a group of folks who, to their core, feel the same way about the work they do. This, you may be surprised to learn, doesn't happen every day. In us, they found a group with unique experience and valuable, diverse perspectives, and quickly becoming an obvious match. We had a series of long conversations with the people at Valve, and everyone shared the satisfaction we take in working with people whose talents dwarf our own to make things we never thought possible. Both sides spoke out about our values and how, when you get right down to it, we as human beings are hard limited by the time we have left, and it comes to making things that we care about and believe in. They asked us if we'll be interested in coming up to the Bellevue and doing that there. We said yes. So Campo Santo is an awesome small studio who are now working with Valve. So it's really nice to see Valve, a big powerhouse of people that made Portal 2, get behind this little studio. Firewatch was a game that's basically a book in unfolding amongst you. So very excited to see what happens. In the Valley of Gods is a game that a lot of people are interested in because it's going to be set, I think it's set in Egypt and looks beautiful, very unique. So it's always good to see good people take care of each other. Now it's time for the movies portion of the thing. I did see Rampage this past weekend. Let's go over that real quickly. Rampage, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, essentially is the 80s, an 80s license thing where, Rampage, the guy goes up the mountain, Lizzie, Ralph, and I forgot the wolf's name. No, that's the wolf. Lizzie, Ralph. Anyway, there's the monkey, the gorilla, the lizard. No, the gorilla, the wolf, the lizard. Good lord. They go up these mountains, destroy the whole city, and that's it. That's all you did in Rampage. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson comes along, and he adds heart to it. And the movie itself is big, really campy. It's really dumb fun. It's really dumb fun in the sense of it. And then you have the guy Negan from Walking Dead. I forget his name, but he's just this weird caricature of a cowboy. He leans like this and talks like Negan. And he's like, how's it going? But it's a movie that I don't really think that you should just go out to go see. I think Ready Player One's a lot better, but it's really cool to see at a big screen because of the sound and whatnot. But it's one of those movies where you're just watching and there's like the big monkey George, just like, it's George. He grabs something and he just tosses this tank, and you're like, well, all those guys are dead. And then splat, all those guys are dead. But it was just, it's along the same lines of San Andreas. It's just something where The Rock has an excuse to look awesome and be awesome, say a lot of one-liners. And I'm really proud of The Rock to be taking the helm because I recently saw Jumanji as well. I think Jumanji was a lot better movie than Rampage. Jumanji had a lot of heart and soul to it in comparison, working together, discovering yourself, all those kinds of awesome things that Jumanji's messages had, and the relationship between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart all rolled into one, and then Jack Black's in it. And it's such a good movie. If you haven't seen Jumanji, I highly recommend it. But Rampage, it's a rental. I had the whole movie theater to myself with my best buddy, and we just had a blast. So it's one of those things that you can take it or leave it. You're not going to miss out on anything if you don't see Rampage. Now, up next, the final trailer for Deadpool 2 was released, and I just had to say this. That trailer is hilarious, and I'm really excited for Deadpool 2. I'm excited to see they mentioned Infinity War, or Avengers Infinity War. They mentioned anything from Marvel. They already had a joke in it about the DC Universe in the trailer, but the ending cap joke of that trailer, the last trailer, is so hilarious. I laughed a long time. I'm very excited for Deadpool 2. And I hope they include someone else. Like they have like Domino and things of that sort, and Cable. Cable was the first Marvel hero I remember drawing. I used to draw a lot when I was in high school, but Cable is awesome. And what's his name? The guy who's playing Thanos as well. I want to say Josh Hartnett, but it's not. Oh my god, it's gonna bug me. Who's playing Thanos actor? Josh Brolin. Ding, 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 ding. Josh Brolin. It's kind of exciting to see all that come to fruition for Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds. Let me pull back my notes. Next story Universal is making a new Doom movie. It looks like Hollywood might be taking another stab at the Doom movie. Actress-singer Nina Bergman tweeted on Tuesday she signed up to appear in Universal's Pictures film. Quote, "Wow, I'm doing the next Doom movie with Universal Pictures. I just signed all the paperwork. I get to go back to Bulgaria again and work with some of my favorite people. The movie will be super cool and director, and my new record will be coming out. I feel like the luckiest girl in the world." End quote. An NBC Universal spokesman told Variety that the new Doom is being handled by Universal 1440 Entertainment, which produces live-action animated non-theatrical productions directly for distribution in all media worldwide. That means the film may be direct to DVD or it could possibly be on digital platforms such as Netflix. Universal's 1440's other projects currently include the latest Tremors movie, a Death Race sequel, an adaptation of Bruce Colville's sci-fi classics Aliens Ate My Homework. The last attempt of Doom movie was in 2005, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Carl Urban and Rosamund Pike. It was loosely based on the video game series. It scored 19% on Rotten Tomatoes and grossed $56 million worldwide, $4 million less than its budget. So that one bombed. More Doom? I don't know. It'd be cool if it was on Netflix. I think Netflix is a great place for video game movies. I still think the greatest video game movie of all time that's based on a franchise, not the idea of a video game, Mortal Kombat. All right, on to the Fortnite news. We just got a little bit of Fortnite. Epic yanks guided missiles from Fortnite. So for those of you who know, guided missiles was just you shoot it, you can control the rocket. They said that as a part of today, Epic said that guided missiles are going to bye-bye for now. We've gotten a lot of feedback around the guided missile, in particular concerns of fairness and strength of the weapon. We share your concerns, so we put the guided missiles in the vault. We figured out the next steps of the future, which is a bummer because actually I like the guided missiles. You can rocket ride yourself. That was fun. But I think it's just they didn't like people holding up and then shooting out the rockets. And the thing is, like, you could easily just build a wall, like build a fort around you and you'd be fine. But I get it because I used to get a lot of people while they were just like not paying attention. Dead. Next story, Fortnite made more than $25 million in its first month on mobile. Wow, $25 million in its first month on mobile. This story says Sensor Tower reports that Epic's mobile battle royale title has grossed more than $25 million to date. The game launched on an invite-only basis in the middle of March, but still managed to top the iOS charts in 47 countries in 24 hours after release. It made $1 million in its first 3 days, and after that, it became available to download for all iOS players in the start of April. The mobile game's revenue totaled $15 million just 5 days later. So almost $1 million a day. That's insane. And that's just from like, oh, people checking out the store, buying costumes and gliders and whatnot. And that's just really cool. We haven't even introduced the Android market. So Fortnite, people were asking, why is Fortnite popular? It's everywhere. And you can play it everywhere. So of course it's going to be popular. And then I've seen like stories like people like saying, I was playing on my iPad and I destroyed all these guys. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Kids are just destroying it. And when I was eating out in a restaurant, at a Mexican restaurant, I looked over. The kid was playing Fortnite. He was sitting in the screen, and then the dad had to take it away. So, Fortnite, man, this is the only like I said, Fortnite, PUBG are just trying to sit on top of this mountain. And we're excited to see what AAA does. Is the free-to-play basis the way to go? Is if someone shows up and says, "Here, $60 for this battle royale," will it outbeat the free-to-play battle royale? That's the interesting question that I like to keep my tabs on in the future. All right, now to the segment. Before we do that segment, let's go to the WWE side of wrestling, and then we'll go to the other segment. This is the Greatest Royal Rumble preview. So for those of you who don't know, WWE is having basically WrestleMania 34.5 or .2, and the Greatest Royal Rumble is going to happen in Saudi Arabia, and they're going to have this open air stadium, big, massive, like putting a lot of money in the production. Because the Saudi Arabia tourist is bringing the WWE to just to like, just to introduce Saudi Arabia's tourism to the world a little bit. So the WWE feels like it's putting on WrestleMania 2. So let me just go down the card real quick. And the only problem I have with the Greatest Royal Rumble is that it undermines the importance of WrestleMania. I feel like WrestleMania, seeing all the story developments from that WrestleMania to the Greatest Royal Rumble, feels like WrestleMania was not important, and they're putting all the eggs in this Greatest Royal Rumble. So we're getting another Royal Rumble, which I already love. So let me go down the card real quick. So let's go down from the bottom up. Cruiserweight Championship, Cedric Alexander will most likely face Ali. Ali will probably win. Now the Greatest Royal Rumble is going to have over 50 wrestlers. So they might have some NXT guys. Hopefully they have a lot of old school wrestlers show up, because I feel like this Royal Rumble didn't have that. It'd be really cool to see that. Who's going to win that Royal Rumble? Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan might walk out there. to win there. So the Raw Team Championship is going to have The Bar versus Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. I think Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt win. What a great stage for them to win, and I love their relationship already. SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos. I think the Usos come back and win that because I think again the Bludgeon Brothers gimmick is meh. United States Championship, Jeff Hardy versus Jinder Mahal, and I think right here I think Hardy loses the belt to Jinder Mahal. Saudi Arabia, I think that they kind of want to get that going, and I think that's interesting to have that Jinder Mahal there. The Undertaker versus Rusev casket match. I think it's going to be another squash match. I think Rusev goes into the casket, maybe comes back with a new gimmick. Rusev Day hopefully can keep going, but the Undertaker, I don't think he can go long, but this is the kind of gimmick match that he could kind of just walk around the ring and stalk Rusev. Works very well. Then we have John Cena versus Triple H. That's pretty cool. I like that. John Cena versus Triple H. I think Triple H, it's interesting. John Cena and Triple H eat a lot of L's. They eat a lot of pins to put people over. I think Triple H, eats the pin here and John Cena goes over. Intercontinental Championship, you have Seth Rollins versus The Miz versus Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe versus Bobby Lashley, which is insane, which is kind of crazy. It's a ladder match. That's a huge, huge card. I think Seth Rollins retains. You have to have Seth Rollins because I think the belt belongs to Seth Rollins. I doubt Finn Balor would win. And the only time Finn Balor will win a belt is if he goes full demon. The WWE Championship, AJ Styles versus Nakamura. Nakamura has been low-blowing AJ Styles all over the place, which is very insane. But I think AJ Styles wins here. I don't think Nakamura wins here. I think they have to keep the belt on AJ. You can't have Nakamura, the heel, just running around low-blowing. He has to get his comeuppance. What a better way to get his comeuppance at WWE Championship. And then we have the Universal Championship Steel Cage match versus Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Maybe Roman Reigns wins. I thought for sure he would win at WrestleMania, considering that Brock Lesnar was supposed to sign a contract with the UFC, but he ends up signing a contract with the WWE, but then allows him to compete at the UFC, so they say. So I think Roman Reigns finally wins here, so Brock Lesnar could take a break. But Roman Reigns, he's going to get beat up pretty bad here. This will be nice because I think the Saudi Arabia crowd won't be so buoy. Will be so buoy towards him, and they'll probably cheer this happening. I think the crowd will kind of be very less smarky, so to speak. So there is the WWE Greatest Royal Rumble preview. So we'll see what happens because that happens this Friday, but early in the morning on the West Coast. So it's gonna be really, really, but early in the morning on the East Coast. All right, now to the segment called "My Bad," where make any corrections or things like that. Nintendo Labo came out on April 20th, so my bad. That came out and it's out. It's basically, you have the cardboard creations, hook it up to your Nintendo Switch. There's a piano, there's fishing poles, but then you have the ability to create whatever you want. So it's really cool to see some of that. I would have got it with my daughter, but she's only 4 months. I really want it, and that's something that I eventually will get when she gets older. Or maybe I should get it now. We'll see. I'll keep my eye on it, Also, what came out is Yakuza 6. Yakuza 6 came out, so my bad, guys. Yakuza 6 is available as well. But Yakuza 6, I saw a video of a guy literally smashing a dude in his face on a car and then taking a knife and then kneeing. It was gross, disgusting. But all that's available now. Let's go to coming soon. Coming soon is, look, Avengers Infinity War is coming soon, okay? 10 years in the making. The Avengers is hitting Friday. I'm going to see it on Thursday. Avengers. So next podcast, we will do a review for the Avengers Infinity War. I am so hyped. So hyped. There's rumors, okay? There's a little birdie rumors that Avengers Infinity War might be part 1 and part 2. It might be part 1 and part 2. Just to get us. Because this movie's supposed to be epic. It's supposed to be huge. I don't think I'm ready. I'm scared. The movie might be bad. I hope it's not. No way. No way, no how. That movie's bad. No way. No way. I don't want to believe it. But yeah, I'm hyped. I hope you are too. And that is coming soon. And that is you gotta go see it. We're gonna talk about it. Spoiler out. We're gonna go all out spoilers. Alright, guys. So that wraps up this episode. I appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate your guys' time. And that wraps up the CheckPoint Amigos show. I am your host, SanchoWest. You guys are the best. You want this early? Go to patreon.com/SanchoWest. Why is that rhyming? That's awesome. I should try to keep that. I'll remember that for next time. Take care of each other. Be good to each other. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, ooh, yeah. Peace. Adios. Woo. Infinity War. 10 years.